Hey folks, Paul S here once again. Today we're going to talk about something that I kind of talked about in another video I did where I ranted about why MIDI was the shit. But I touched on the subject of guitar and of speeding stuff up and of cheating with the guitar. Oh no! Basically, this stems from this band, which I will be name dropping because I'm going to be dropping all their names this time in this video. Because I don't care. It's nothing against those bands, it's just a technique. And I think if you think it's musical, you should definitely utilize it. But if you don't think it's musical, then you should also shut up because who cares? But the point about it is truth. I can't handle the truth, can you? So, The Heart Machine was a band that I really enjoyed when they first came out. Mr. Albumin had put up these awesome videos. This one Strambic video, I remember, I would hear the riffs and I'd be like, wow, that sounds so juicy. And then at this time I was a reviewer, right? I was reviewing guitars non-stop. I had to stop. Thank goodness I did that. But, so I listened to this tone and I thought, damn, that's really good, but how's he getting it so precise? And so I started practicing guitar like a freaking maniac, and it didn't work out so well because I never got that good at it, man. And that really pissed me off. And a few months later, I found out that he was cheating, or at least that's what the community thought. And at first I was like, this guy's a jerk. He didn't tell anyone that he was speeding up his guitar parts. And then I came to the realization, well, that's just the sound that he wanted. Why should I be so cruel and negative about it? Well, it's because I had put in all this time and I had so much insecurity from my own guitar playing that I started to practice more. So did it help me in the long run? Probably. Did it hurt me in the long run? Emotionally, mentally, making me worry about playing my 7th fret properly? Yeah, that definitely wasn't cool, dude. Oh well, I mean, it is what it is. I don't blame the guy anymore. But I wanted to talk about it because I know that they're making a new record. And I know that people are going to skip over this fact. And I know that people are skipping over the fact that many musicians are utilizing this sped up technique in order to get a better sound, and no one's calling them out for it. This video is not to call them out, it's to identify the differences between regular tempo and the really slow tempos that people use to record to sound cleaner. I'll be using various examples from all over the metal genre, so bear with me, this video is going to be fun. So in terms of The Heart Machine, I went back and relearned one of the riffs I really enjoyed. And what I decided to do was record for you at regular speed what it sounds like. So this is the first riff at regular speed, 115 beats per minute. That's what it sounds like with this guitar. I'm not in drop C, I'm in drop D because I like this guitar to be in D or in standard basically. That sounds pretty good, pretty tight, right? A little bit too much gain. There's a little bit of note incorrectness in terms of definition. So let's go to the 80% version of the riff. I recorded this at 92 beats per minute and sped it up in Logic Pro X. Are you ready? So I think you get it. There's a little bit more tightness, but there's something wrong with the gain. There's something that's a little bit too sonic about it. Something a little bit too gotta go fast, you know what I mean? So you can maybe start to hear the differences. I'm gonna play them back and forth now, and the camera's gonna look at the back of my head for a second because I didn't plan this out as well as I should have. So 80% first. That's pretty crazy, that difference. I mean, it's not too much, but it's subtle and it's there. And it makes me ask the question, what if we did it at 50%? And obviously I recorded the riff at 50% speed, and I'm going to A and B them now with the 50% to the regular riff speed so that you can hear the big difference in this riff. I don't know if you guys are noticing, but I feel like the bass is a little bit more defined, or something is a little bit more defined in there. And that's kind of crazy. So it doesn't sound too bad. Now, what I think most of these guys are doing these days, when they're setting up a session, they are recording at a slower BPM. Now, I did 80 and 50% to kind of highlight the differences or the lack thereof of differences. But I feel like what people are really doing is recording at 80% and getting a clean, direct input signal from the guitar. A direct input signal is just what's coming out of here. No amp, no power, no pre. No nothing's going on, just clean. But yeah, so they're taking their DI at 80% and then they're speeding it up to 100% and feeding that through an amplifier. And that is where I think most of the awesome riffing and tightness kind of starts to come from, because the amplifier is responding to the guitar as if it's being played at the regular speed, but it doesn't know any better. It can't extrapolate for speed and suddenly screw up your signal. So I think that's what a lot of people are doing. And I'm really shocked that this isn't more talked about, because it's a really interesting recording technique, and I do plan on using it very slightly for some riffs that are going to just sound way too murky with my 8-string guitar. When it comes to 6, I'm pretty comfortable, but with the 8, sometimes you lose that definition, so I usually use 90% speed instead of 80 or 70, because I just don't like the other way of doing things where it's like 50% to 100%. I don't like lying or cheating that much, I guess, you know? If someone asks me to my face, hey, did you speed up your guitar tracks? I'll be like, yeah, because I want it to sound clean. And that's good, because I like being honest. I think being honest is awesome. So that's just a reasonable human being thing to do. I don't want anyone to feel like they can't play my material. I can play my material, and I don't think I'm particularly amazing at the guitar. I practice my ass off to do what I can, but you know what I mean? I'm very realistic. I like to think that my music is made for guitar nerds as well as people who just like to hear heavy shit all the time. And I know that as a consumer of music, I like to know what's being used, because I'm a musician. At the end of the day, I gotta know what gear you use and what string gauge is that. So anyway, I'm gonna try and utilize that in a couple of songs in the future with my 8-string. And you should be able to tell a difference if I reference it in the future. I'll be like, oh, which riff is sped up? And maybe there will be a second part to this video. But I just wanted to showcase what people have been up to and doing. So let's start naming some names of people who have been doing this stuff. Obviously the Heart Machine used this wildly all over their record, and some people will argue, well, you shouldn't speed up anything on the record because it needs to be natural and organic and homegrown and planted in the earth after you've taken a shit or something like that. And that's, you know, that's all good and well for those people who believe in that kind of extremist metal view of like, no, has to be used an SM57 from 1986 with the Celestion and a V30 and the same old sound that we've heard for 40 years. And I beg to differ. I think that's really stupid. So at the end of the day, I think if you can't play it live, you're doing yourself a disservice by recording it at the speed that you're doing. And you need to go back and practice more. And I feel like that's exactly what Al Mumin did from the Heart Machine. And I feel like he's trying to redeem himself in the eyes of the metal public, which is a weird phrase to say, but makes sense, right? It makes sense to go back and get better at your craft so that you can show people that you actually can do what you have written. Now, that all being said, he posted a video recently of him using the sped up technique in a video, in a playthrough. And I think that's really counterproductive to the whole going against the whole reputation he has, because he released a playthrough video a month ago or something where he plays the song perfectly without any speeding up or trickery. And it's like, well, I understand the point to release music with that sped up perfection, because you want that bass tone to be really perfected, and you want it to almost sound gated without a gate. It's to that level of sonic perfection, and it's an idealistic thing to go for. But using it in a playthrough video is, I don't care. I'm not going to watch the video. I'm going to listen to it, but I'm not going to watch the video. It's nothing to watch. It sounds computerized. It's not for me, you know. I don't listen to music by looking at it. I don't care about the video in that, right? You know? So, correct me if I'm wrong, but would you watch a video of a computer playing the guitar, or would you listen to it? I would rather listen to it, because then you're really getting into it that way. And I don't particularly enjoy the material that the Heart Machine's putting out now. It's cool, but it's nothing to do with the music I'm making or what I like to listen to anymore. And that's just me. I'm not on anyone. Another example of this technique being used, I would say, is with the band Obscura, believe it or not. So I'm going to show you this example because it's a great example, and it's one that I think few people know about. And Obscure is a pretty standard, awesome tech death band. So the song I'm referring to is a song called Velocity off of Omnivium, which is the second last Obscure album to come out. It came out a long time ago anyway. And I'm gonna play the solo for you right now. So we're at the 3-minute 25-second mark. This is all normal and standard fare. I'm recording the screen, I'm recording these. This is weird for me. Pretty reasonable. But the vibrato's messed up. And I know that they have said that, no, that's a sped up solo, like there's no way that it's humanly possible. And I appreciate that a lot. But you see how organic it sounds? I feel like they did exactly that, where they might have recorded the DI at a slower tempo and then just sped it up as they've wanted to make the song sound more and more insane. It's a song called Velocity. That's the point. I get that. That's an artistic thing to do. But what isn't artistic is doing the solo and pretending to play it in a playthrough and not telling anyone that it's complete bullshit when it obviously is. That's just not realistic, you know what I mean? So that's one example of another band that uses the same technique in a way that's actually artistically relevant. Let's look at another example now, which might confuse some people. So I found this video of Jason Richardson playing live at the NAMM 2017. And so this guy confuses me because I listen to the recordings and I think that he sped everything up by at least 10 to 20%. But there are, of course, those little Instagram snippets and those videos out there showing that he can actually play it to speed. And so I asked myself the question, do they quantize the tracks afterwards instead of speeding things up? Because you want to just nudge it to be right on the perfect, right on the one instead of one and a bit, you know? So Jason Richardson, I don't know if he uses it. That's the thing. He's so damn good. I think he's the closest guitar player to reaching that sonic perfection without having to use any extra tools to get there. So I forwarded this video to a part where it's kind of a section which I find to be impossible, but most of his music's impossible for me anyway. And I just want you guys to listen to this and then reference the other examples I've given you so far. Now, I don't know what the hell strings he's using, what kind of Red Bull he's drinking, or what kind of CrossFit he's into, but that guy is fucking fast. And that's great. No, I think it's really cool. And I still can appreciate the fact that he's technically probably the closest to sonic perfection of all of us bedroom-dwelling shredhead metalheads. And I really enjoy the fact that he makes me question whether or not he's playing it or whether there's a quantization going on in his tracks or what. Obviously the production of his album was amazing and immaculate, and I do not question his guitar work or his intensity or discipline in his practice, but it does tread that line for me where it's like, this guy might actually be doing it exactly note for note, and it makes you want to push yourself, I hope, instead of be depressed and want to throw your expensive, you know, 3,000 euro instrument out the window, which I'm never going to do. I love this guitar. I hope that I provided some interesting examples of the speed up technique. And while I might have been naming some names and been a bit upset with the Heart Machine stuff, I really don't care. I really don't have any ill will towards anyone. I don't feel like what I've said is anything new particularly, but I feel like I needed to talk about this because it came up. It just came up again recently. I would talk to a friend of mine, a great friend of mine, Mr. Jeremy. You know, we talk about these things and I'm like, hold on a second, that guy's making a new record. I want to say my piece this time instead of being that insecure child in a bedroom trying to learn something and not being able to get there and feeling really insecure and needing to work on that. I hope that you guys out there who are watching this don't feel in any way insecure or anything like that by anyone's playing, because it really is a stylistic choice to do something like this. And for me personally, it's really sad to have to use this kind of technique, but I feel like whatever gets you the tone that you want, you should do it. And that comes back to utilizing an Axe FX2 in my case. You know what I mean? This kind of stuff is stuff that you need, equipment that you require to get the job done. And I'm kind of sad that I can't get the guitar parts tight enough for the Land of Secrets Revisited rhythm section stuff. Some of it is like absurd 30-second note stuff, which I want it to be that perfected tone, but I will try to skirt that line between that 90% sped up to 100, just so I can get the transient effect of the pick attack into the riff, versus just playing the riff balls out, getting my technique up there as well. Right now, I'm going to try and utilize these little production techniques, because this is how I like to grow as a musician, trying new things out. I don't think I'll ever use 80% or 50%. I think that's a ridiculous amount of note speeding, and I don't really like the sound of it at the end of the day, but I do like using these tools. So I hope that this has been an interesting video about something that's not really talked about often, I guess, and I hope that you guys have learned something. Leave a like and tell me what you think in the comments about this whole situation. I'm looking forward to the Heart Machine album, even though I don't really love the playthroughs I've seen so far. Maybe I'll really like the record. I'm not willing to douse the whole thing in gasoline just because I don't like one song or something like that. I would really like to listen to the whole thing and have a seat and listen to music, as opposed to just judge it off of one guy's guitar playing skills, you know. And finally, before I let you guys go, just before I forget, I wanted to let you guys know I started a tech death band, progressive technical death metal band called Voidstar, and I plan on releasing a record of material quite soon. I don't know when, I can't tell you when, because I need to fix up some of the tracks still and I need to put it all together. I can tell you that I will try to completely play it organically as possible. I don't want to use any speed up technique on this tech death, just to see how far I can push my own guitar technique. But that is all happening, so please go visit my Voidstar Facebook page and check out the demo, because there's a demo. And also, for those of you who are curious, in the cover video photo for the Facebook page, if you turn on the sound, there's another clip in there. So for those of you who are diehard Paul Oz fans, check that one out. It's really cool and really heavy, and I think you'll like it. Alright guys, cheers.